What is up, Cubes fam? Cube Zeno back with you. What is up, Cubes fam? Cube Zeno back with you. And welcome to a pack I'm calling Divine Intermission. It's my adaptation of Divine Journey. Yes, somehow we managed to spawn on a desert island. Because that's kind of how RNG works. I don't want either of those. Alright. So, this is Divine Journey 1. I spent a little bit of time researching because I wanted to kind of double check before I decided to do this talking topic. I am issuing a viewer discretion advisory now. If you don't do well hearing unpleasant stories, then I would suggest muting the audio for this episode and just enjoying the gameplay. I guess I'll go over there, but there's oak trees over there. I have done the main thing, and I've actually added a bunch of mods to this. So normally this would not be a topic I'd use for a first episode, or really any episode. But, Chocobos at the start? Dude. I don't have a safari net, so I can't come and get them, but... Oh, and my boat randomly broke. That is one thing that I do like better about the newer versions. Okay. There's the boat pieces. So, for those of you who have already caught the curiosity of, who are ready to hear the story, oh, you know, actually, I might put, like, a thing, well, no, just in case I talk about it throughout the whole episode, I'd rather just issue the safety warning and be safe about it. So... I've been pushing around talking about this for a long time. I've made references to it, but I know that nobody really knows the whole story, unless you're somebody who knows me in real life and knows my history. I am going to talk about some stuff to do with my family today. Stuff that gets hinted at from time to time. I don't think I've ever come out and said it on video before exactly. But I can't talk about it in too much detail because of, obviously, having to worry about the terms of service and stuff like that. I also don't want to upset anyone who might be part of the situation who might decide that I have said anything that they decide that they want to pursue in a legal standpoint, because I don't want trouble. But I do want to talk about this because it kind of helps people understand a little bit more about my family and about me. Obviously, I'm not gonna share all sorts of details. For the record, this whole situation is a matter of public record. So you don't have to take anything I say for granted, because it can be researched. If you have a problem with it and you want to do the research into it, I am more than willing to direct message people and say, you know, send me a direct message. I got my Instagram, I got my Twitter, everything is listed. Send me a direct message. Be like, prove it. And I do not mind giving enough information to look at court cases and stuff. But I wanted to kind of talk about my family history. specifically on my biological father's side. I will only speak to stuff that I know, so I won't go into. There is other stuff that's like hearsay about stuff, but I'm not gonna get into it. So it's hard to start talking about, really, sometimes. I come from a family history with abuse in it. But I am in the unique position that I am not the person who experienced the direct influence. Is this just an archipelago world? Is this what this is going to be? Are we going to have to build Atlantis to survive here or something? Sorry. But as I was saying, I specifically was not one of the people who had to deal with the physical ramifications of said abuse. I was a baby when all of this happened, so why did I double click? I did not mean to double click. Okay. So if I did experience any sort of issue, I really don't remember. I don't think I ever did. I don't think anything was ever allowed to get that far. But yeah, so when I was a baby and my sister was around 3, my biological father did things. And I don't think really anybody really needs me to point that out, to explain that. Because I think y'all understand what I mean. But he did things that were not okay to do to a 3-year-old. And on top of that, he also physically harmed. What the fuck is Vimecron? Vimacron? What is that? Is that the name of one of the whales? Why are there so many whales? Jeez. Are we gonna have to set up, like, a house on an island to begin with? I think there's gonna be mainland over there. Are there cows? I thought I heard a moo. I don't know why I'm saving all the mushroom gardens. But he was also physically abusive. I don't know what other than the inappropriate stuff he ever did to my sister. It's not something that I really ask her to talk about. It's traumatic for her to have to talk about it, and I would appreciate it if any of you guys have any sort of contact with her, you don't try to push her for any of that information. It's out there because I've talked about her before in content, but I would appreciate if you guys let it go, because I don't want to cause any issues with her because I decided to talk about this. The reason why I'm coming out to talk about this is because I'm going to have a song coming out really soon on the song channel. I need to start linking that in the episode descriptions. That I wrote as one where I was kind of, the best way I can put it, I guess, is to say venting about the whole feelings that I have about. So I guess to kind of frame that perspective real quick. so that you all know, because of his actions, I grew up without a father until I was 10 years old. My stepdad came into the picture around the time I turned 10. And he is the man I consider my father. If I'm saying dad, I'm talking to him. I'm going to aim that way just a little bit. Yeah, it looks like we finally hit mainland. I guess we'll burrow in the first night, huh? Oh shit. I forgot about these guys. I don't really want to just cram in though. Can I make a... First, let's get some extra planks. Let's make a stone shovel. I'm not gonna make more than one. I just don't wanna. I don't wanna spawn more Kendrill cats. He did, however, do some stuff to my mom. He left her hanging in the closet for 3 days. It broke her wrists. I don't want to be too graphic because I don't want to get in trouble, but it was not pretty. It was... I don't have words to describe the kind of terrible thing doing something like that is. And so anyway, that has left a lot of problems in many forms for a lot of people, and I want anyone out there who is living with feelings that come from situations like this, you know, like I, for one, I inherited some anger management issues that I have dedicated my life to correcting. And it's been hard. It's been really hard. But, you know, I always promised that I would never end up like him. And I am proud to say that I never have to date. But I know that there are people out there who are living with situations, and they're not as lucky as I was to be, aside from the feelings that accompany being a kid with the absentee dad, you know, they don't happen to be as lucky as I was with missing, having to worry about being a part of the physical violence. You know, there's so many people out there who endure stuff all the time, and then they kick themselves up later, which is something I was just about to get to saying, which is, with all that said and done, would I ever want him back in my life? Absolutely not. However, I know what it was like growing up with no dad. Because for all intents and purposes, I was almost a teenager when my stepdad came in. I love him to pieces. I'm proud to call him my father. But for all intents and purposes, he didn't get there in time to save me from experiencing that feeling. So I can say, you know what, I know what this feels like. I'm just glad to say I also know what having a dad as a teenager is like. Even though we had very little in common, still do, you know, we're on two very different ends. You know, he's got like the mechanic stuff going for him and all that. And I know bits and pieces. I don't know very much. He likes sports. I don't. Well, he used to like sports. I don't know if he still does. He lives across the state from me now, and we haven't talked a lot in the last few years, ever since my mom died. We talk from time to time, but not very much. But like, I do know that feeling too of growing up, and as soon as I was old enough to understand, it was explained to me what happened. So whether that was a blessing or a curse, it's hard to say too, because on the one side, I would rather have known. You know, I would rather know what kind of person he was than for people to lie to me and tell me, oh, he was a great guy. But at the same time, it was a different experience, and I don't mean necessarily in a good way, that I did know who he was once I could understand, because then I dealt with my own issues of almost hating myself for having these feelings that come alongside situations like that, where you know, you're combining the feeling of missing someone, wanting a father to be proud of you, stuff like that. And then you're combining it with feeling guilt because if he was there, you wouldn't be. Or maybe your mom wouldn't be. Or your sister wouldn't be. And it's really rough to have to deal with that. And so part of me talking about this is to finally open up and get this off my chest. But also to reach out to the people who are where I have been. Where, thank God, somebody stepped in and saved your life. But you feel robbed of something you can't get back. And of something that in a lot of ways it feels like you never had. Because how much was just playing nice? How much was gaining your trust? And how much was actual real love and affection before it all started? And I wish I could tell you. I really do. But at the end of the day, no one really knows. And in all likelihood, no one's ever gonna really know. It's really hard to tell sometimes. You know, I was told my whole life that part of my father's problems came from things that happened between him and his father, who is now gone now. And that may be true. I don't know. It's not for me to say. But that doesn't excuse it. Just because somebody hurt you, it doesn't let you have a free pass to hurt others. The most logic I will give to the arguments that people give me in that particular are to the fact that my mom always argued that he behaved the way he did because he didn't understand how to love. I will grant that argument, but that is the only one. Oh shoot, I need to make a sword, and I need to make it now. Yeah, we got headcrumbs, everybody. I should probably make a sword. It's not the only. Well, I don't want to necessarily blanket everything under the auspices of referring to things like abuse and stuff. But it's not the only hardships I've gone through where people aren't being great people. But, you know, I was lucky enough that I was not on the receiving end. In some ways, I wish I was. so that I understood more intimately the things that they went through. Even though I don't actually want to experience any of that. But I do want to understand. How do I make it... Does the quest book give me a block of coal? Probably. Let's do jungle sapling. So I can grow cocoa, get more... Okay, I did get coal. So I need to mine coal. I need to find a coal grade. Okay. I need another stone pick. Probably 2 more just to be safe. Okay. See, these are basically loot bag farms when you spawn a bunch of Kendril cats. Come on, slime spawn. Dirty slime, dirty slime. Give me all of your loot bags. Ooh, that was an infernal slime. Nice. I gotta pause and be right back. Okay. I probably should... Okay. Maddie's actually going to be home here in just a few minutes, so... I am going to have to cut this episode short, but... starting place... I may talk about this again in the future. We'll see. But I just want you guys to know out there, you're not alone. It may feel like you are. You may not always know the people who relate, but you're not alone. And it's okay both to be upset and to yearn for what you don't get. I spent a long time hating myself, wanting the pride of a man who didn't deserve it. And yet, it was okay for me to yearn for that thing which I didn't have. So don't kick yourself up too much. You don't have to want them to want what they could have been. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy my stuff. Please, if you guys can relate and you have your own stories to share, feel free to share in the comments down below. I've very much thought about taking this to a Reddit post and kind of seeing if there are other people out there, you know, that relate to what my family went through. I can talk more about this honestly, but Maddie's on her way back from going somewhere and she needs me to come help bring stuff in. But just, you know, it's okay. You're strong and you'll be okay. But yeah, if you guys enjoy my content, please make sure to slap that like button. Share your stories or your opinions in the comments down below. And I'll catch you guys later. Don't go and chill out. I'll see you. Peace.